Okay, let's talk about a major shift in the long-running conflict between China and India. A single phrase, just 2 words, in a recent report could change everything. We're going to break down exactly what that phrase is and why it's putting the entire region on high alert.
So where is all this coming from? Well, a recent U.S. Pentagon report to Congress just confirmed it. China has officially labeled India's state of Arunachal Pradesh a core interest. Now, that might sound like a bunch of diplomatic jargon, but believe me, it's a very carefully chosen and very serious declaration.
And that really brings us to the key question, doesn't it? This term, core interest, it's a very specific and loaded piece of terminology in Chinese foreign policy. So what does Beijing actually mean when they use it?
You see, this new label is way more than just words. It's a strategic declaration. It puts this region into a completely new category of risk, and it could turn it into a genuine global hotspot. Just think about the company Arunachal Pradesh is in now. By calling it a core interest, China is putting it in the exact same box as Taiwan, the South China Sea, and the Senkaku Islands. I mean, we're talking about some of the most volatile and dangerous territorial disputes on the entire planet.
So to really understand what's at stake here, we have to decode this. We have to get into what this critical piece of Chinese foreign policy actually means.
Here's the bottom line. When China calls something a core interest, they're saying it's completely non-negotiable, period. They see it as absolutely essential to their national identity and sovereignty. And crucially, it signals they are willing to use force to get it.
And make no mistake, this isn't just a vague claim. It's a full-on playbook. It means the Chinese Communist Party's goal is to impose complete political control, run all the economic development, and assert total sovereignty. Basically, it's a 3-step plan for total absorption.
This declaration pretty much signals the endgame. From Beijing's point of view, the time for talking is over. They've basically walked away from the negotiating table on this and are now on record saying they'll take it by whatever means necessary: coercion, pressure, or even force.
Now, to really grasp how serious today's stance is, you gotta look back. Because this hardline position is a complete 180 from where things were just a few decades ago. Let's just walk through this for a second. The border was basically defined by the McMahon Line way back in 1914. Fast forward to 1959, and China was actually offering a package deal to try and settle the whole thing. But when that deal was rejected, it led to war in 1962. And now, here we are, at a point where China says it's not even up for discussion anymore.
I mean, the contrast here is just night and day. Back in the 50s, the Chinese premier was willing to recognize Indian control over Arunachal in exchange for Oxide Chin. The issue was on the table. But today, China flat-out rejects India's sovereignty, calls the region Zhangnan, or southern Tibet, and insists there's nothing left to talk about.
So why Arunachal? What is it about this specific piece of land that makes it so critically important, especially for India's security?
Well, its importance is really multi-layered. Geopolitically, it's got that long border with Tibet. Culturally, it's home to Tawang, a really sacred site in Tibetan Buddhism. And then there's the military angle. Its location is a direct threat to a highly vulnerable and incredibly strategic corridor for India. And that brings us to this number, 22 kilometers. This is the width of the Chicken's Neck, or the Siliguri Corridor. It's India's only land link to its 8 northeastern states. At its narrowest point, it's just 22 kilometers wide. That creates a massive military vulnerability right next to this disputed region. Okay, so what happens now? Well, China's hardened stance isn't just rhetoric anymore. It's already translating into a clear pattern of aggressive actions on the ground.
And look, this isn't some future threat. It's happening right now. China's already acting on this claim. They're detaining Indian citizens from Arunachal, they're refusing to recognize their passports, and they're using this whole claim as a strategic message, especially as India gets closer with the United States.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway. This isn't just some isolated border squabble. It's a key piece of China's long-term global ambitions. This claim is directly tied to its grand strategy of achieving national rejuvenation by 2049, a plan that involves taking back all the territories it considers its own.
So that leaves us with a massive question for the future. And it's not just about India's borders, it's about the precedent this sets. As a rising power actively tries to rewrite the rules, how can a stable balance of power in Asia, and really the world, be maintained? It's a question with no easy answers.